you want to pay attention to is what the manufacturer specifications are on the chain play and how it's measured. Ducati measures it in a bunch of different manners. Some models it's measured by how far the chain hangs from a fixed point on the swing arm. Other models, it's how much play up and down the chain has. And they specify that it's on the side stand. Saying that's on the side stand, what they're really referring to is that the weight is off the rear wheel. So we're going to put a jack underneath the engine and we're going to unload it. And we can measure the play. So they're calling for 38 to 42 millimeters. And by the drawings of the arrows, it's how far the chain hangs from the bottom of the slider. We're going to measure right in the drawing. It's in front of this guard. We've determined that this chain is a little bit snug in this spot. Now we have to make sure that there isn't a tight spot in the chain. The parts in the chain that are supposed to roll freely on each other have either become dry, seized, or the chain is starting to fail. It's usually indicative of a lack of chain maintenance or water intrusion into the chain. So to do that, what we're going to do is move the wheel and we're going to look for the tightest spot. So we want to slowly rotate it and measure. So we're at 35 here. Now this is actually good. See now right here? See how this link is coming up at a slight angle? And the rest of the links are laying flat? That can be caused by a couple things. That can be truly a tight spot. It can also be that the lubricant that's used on the chain tends to be very hard and sticky when it's dry. So we want to see if it floats. And this floats, so that is not a seized link. It just happens to be that either the chain was lubricated with a chain wax or paraffin, or something that doesn't allow it to really float freely when it's cool. 35, you can see another one right here is appearing. We've gone around everywhere and it seems to be about 34 to 35 millimeters, so we're just a little bit snugger than where we should be. So we're going to put a little bit of play to it.
If you're adjusting it and you end up a little bit loose, you're always better to go a little bit loose than too tight.
Most of the reason of pulling it down is we saw that we had those couple of links that we're doing this. When we pull it down, we're trying to make the chain kind of come into its relaxed, or we'll call it the loosest state.
The whole reason for having the looseness in the chain or having some play in it is so that when you're at full compression on your rear shock, what happens is the swing arm gets longer or the position in the chain makes it longer. And so you don't want to get so tight that either the chain binds the suspension up or that when you go under full compression you break the chain.
Okay, now to loosen this chain, a lot of people always seem to ask the question, which way do I turn it? It's really simple. If you turn it one way and it loosens right up, and you want to loosen it, you're going the right direction, so you just kind of have to watch it. With the multi, the little chain guard works excellent as a handle to turn it. You can see how it turned the wrong way. It actually tightened up. So we're going to turn it the opposite way. Pull on it to pull all the play to one side, and then measure it. If we look at this seam on the swing arm, we're going to call this as basically the imaginary center line of the swing arm. Now if we go through the axle, you can see how the axle is above center of that imaginary line. Does everybody see that? If I kind of run a straight edge across this, see how the axle is on the upward rotation of it? Every other single-sided swing arm, the eccentric would be on the bottom. So it actually would be, and I don't think we're going to get around all the way, it would go below. But you can see how you can't go that way anymore, or this way. So it kind of keeps you from going onto the wrong side of the swing. So that's something you really want to pay attention to. Older 916s, it was possible to go all the way around and have it on the wrong side of the swing, which causes the chain to chew up the slider. So we've checked our chain tension and it's set now. It's very important that these are torqued to the proper value so that the bolts untorque properly and you don't have to drill the bolt out. It also keeps you from overloading this assembly, which tends to compress the bearings and squeeze the bearings down. So torquing it properly will prolong the life of all the parts in the back of the motorcycle.